Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Okay, so we're in anniversary week this week. This week, it'll be 20 years since we started this program. Now, back in 2013, we started True Crime Tuesday. And the idea behind True Crime Tuesday was this. We were going to combine the paranormal with true crime. We're going to put the two of them together. We found there was one problem, though, when you did that. There were only so many cases out there that combined the paranormal with true crime. So then we just brought in the true crime element to this program. Then we found out one thing. It was kind of fun to throw in fictional crime, and we threw in some crime fiction into the show, and it's kind of expanded from there. You get the idea. It's a fun little program and a fun little thing we do with the program here. But what's fun is that it seems like the video or television genre hasn't really skipped across this as much, the true crime and paranormal put together. I know Patrick Byrne's program did it way back in the day. I want to say that was 2007 or 2008, but it didn't last for too long. I think it was maybe a season or two. But there's a new program out there that our good friend Katrina Weidman is the executive producer of, that I got the privilege of being able to sit down and watch the first 3 episodes. And if you haven't done that so far on YouTube, but I don't know what you're doing with your life, it's called Voices from the Grave, and it's a wonderful, wonderful program. In fact, I'm so hooked on it now, I don't know what I have to do to get the rest of the series now. I'll tell you that much. I'm enthralled and I'm so excited to want to see the rest of this show. And we're going to get the creator of the series in here, Alisa Statman, and Katrina Weidman, of course, the executive producer in here now. And ladies, welcome in. And we're going to talk about this program and talk about how this show was created, what subjects they tackle first, and why, and how this all came about, and this wonderful program came about, and where we go after this case, because it is monumental, the first case that's tackled. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome in Alisa Statman and Katrina Weidman. Ladies, thank you so much for being on True Crime Tuesday.
Hi, Tim.
Hello. Katrina, I'm going to have you hold on for a bit here, and then we'll talk to Lisa first. Lisa, tell me a little bit about it, because it was you that really came up with the concept for this, taking and marrying the paranormal with true crime, and automatically, and we went after this case in the very beginning of this show as well, the Black Dahlia case, and we went after Steve Hodel as well. What drew you to this case? I believe it was 6 years ago, correct?
2018 is when we investigated this case. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the funny thing is we weren't drawn into it. It was the original concept for the show was called Haunted Hollywood. And what I really wanted to do was, you have all these great houses here in Los Angeles with such a rich Hollywood history, but there's always a dark side of so many of these places. And I wanted to go in and investigate with a paranormal team, mediums, and homicide investigators to see if we could come up with anything new on some of these old cases. And we literally had interest from a network who said, prove to us that you can do it. And we scrambled and found the Soden house. So we fell into this. We didn't really go looking for it. And then, of course, became completely immersed in it after we got there. And it changed the entire course of how the show was going to go with what we found in the house.
When you got to the Soden house, of course, you hit a gold mine, right? The Soden house starts. Tell us how the Soden house, its history starts, because just the beginnings of the Soden house are controversial, aren't they?
Yeah. The house was built in 1926 by Lloyd Wright Jr. for Jack and Ruth Soden. And it is built with a Mayan-esque feel to it. We've talked to some Mayan architects who are like, there's nothing Mayan about it. It's just a monstrosity. So it's always had kind of this esoteric, weird vibe to it that has drawn people. The front of it, they call it the Jaws house. And it's got two pyramids on either side. And if you understand anything about sacred geometry and the occult, it's how the energy is brought in through these pyramids and doesn't have an escape because it's just bouncing back and forth. So the history, that's how it all started. And Jack and Ruth Soden were very much into surreal art. They wanted performance art, supposedly, and they built the back pyramid as a performance type stage, in theory, is what it was called. It was called the studio in the blueprints. And it seems like things went really bad for Jack and Ruth almost immediately. They built their dream house, and 3 years later, they were divorced. Ruth stayed in the house, got remarried, and she stayed there till 1950. I believe from the records that we saw, she actually sold it to George Hodel. She had a lot of renters in between there because she had moved out of the house. And then George Hodel moves in, and it takes on a whole new history from there, which I think everybody is familiar with. But what also people don't know is George Hodel sold it to the Mazur family. And according to an interview that I saw with Maury Mazur, what happened was there was some paranormal activity in the house, which caused them to say, hey, we're going to move out. We're going to rent it out. And in the process, they ended up renting it out to people who, according to Maury Mazur, turned it into a satanic temple. And my big question was always, how do you walk into a place and just go, yep, it's perfect for us? What did they see in this house that would cause them to want to move into it? So they got kicked out, and then the house sat empty for years and years and years until Zora Balbus bought it, retrofitted the whole thing, and then resold it after that.
You know, from watching the video, I think I see what exactly, if I were, well, let's just say if I worship Satan, exactly where I would set stuff up. But Katrina, when you look at the video or when you see the house,
yeah,
do you see why some Satanists would want the house?
I mean, I love the house, so maybe you're asking the wrong gal, because I would be the type of person to be like, I'll move right in. That house is so cool. But it does have an unsettling feel to it, I think. So I can also understand how people are freaked out. Funny enough, one of the makeup artists I work with did a shoot there. And when I was telling her about Voices from the Grave, she's like, oh, that house is so cool, but it's so weird. And then she was talking about the hidden bookcase behind, or the hidden like area behind like the entertainment area. And, you know, so it has a reputation, I think, for people that know of it or have been in it. It was interesting to me to hear that, you know, she also got like a vibe from it.
The minute that in the show where it says, you know, it's got elements of sacred geometry, it's built a certain way, that you've got these pyramids that are in the architecture, automatically I know where my mind goes. I think I know where some people's mind go, but I'm automatically thinking, well, of course I would know why a certain crowd would be attracted to it, and I know why a certain crowd would want to twist it. There's two different crowds here that would want the house. But it could very easily be retrofitted, that's the best word I can come up with it, to want to do evil things in it or desecrate it and use it to perform black magic.
I think that was the exact word that our medium Joe Peretta used down in the basement, was that it has a desecrated feel to it.
Yeah.
You know, those were his exact words. And I think that, you know, when you look at who Lloyd Wright was, and how he thought of himself as a magician, he thought of himself as, you know, all of these things that bring in these elements. And then when you look at it, Karen was the one that found, you know, the sacred altars in Chichen Itza. It's kind of hard not to look at that and go, okay, what was he really thinking there? And then you have to ask yourself, well, did the Sodens know? Which, by the way, we answer that question in the season finale.
Oh, really? Oh, see, Now Lisa, you're going to leave me hanging here. But okay, so I'll just take a swing without knowing the answer. And to me, if you say Lloyd Wright fancied himself as a magician, I can't see. I don't want to blow your program either. But I think I know what kind of a magician he is, and I think I know why he built the house the way he built it. But that doesn't necessarily mean he was on the side of evil. I think it means that whoever came in there twisted it.
I think that's possible, but you have to go and look at the other homes and churches that Lloyd Wright built. And when, it's like Karen will tell you, when you're building a case, it's not any one element.
Sure.
You have to just start digging and bringing things in. In our upcoming episodes, we go to another Lloyd Wright house. And we have one of the worst experiences I think we've ever had in a house. And we couldn't really explain it because you look at this house and it's kind of cool, it's, but we also went to the Wayfarers Chapel just because it happens to be right down the street from us before they had to rip it down just recently. And it had such a horrible vibe when you walk into this church, and it was built for the Swedenborgians. So, there's just this whole esoteric thing. And then when you look at how much he hated his father, and then you look at what happened in the Enos house, and he put a curse on the Enos. It's in a letter that you can get in the UCLA files where, he says they should be cursed and burned in the house. And sure enough, all these bad things started happening in the Enos house, including a fire in the master bedroom.
Yeah.
So, when you start pulling in all of the other places that he's been involved in, it's not just the Soden house. And you just have to look at everything he was doing. And the churches, I think, are kind of the creepiest to me when you have somebody who could be doing the opposite for a church where people go to worship.
Very
That's
true.
a really creepy thought.
Very true. But again, I'll throw this in one other vein here, and you tell me, Lisa, is it possible that even someone with a bit of evil in their heart could step outside of themselves and go, maybe I'll do something good for these particular people, and then even though they're throwing a piece of themselves into their work, they're stepping back and putting something good into it?
Yeah, listen, anything's possible. And I think that, I was talking to Elfie Music from Paranormal State. I was talking to her about this, and she has also an interesting theory in that when you have something like the George Hodel and the Black Dahlia, in theory, that happened in this house, there's, what do they call it? I can't remember the exact word she used, but you're bringing this energy in constantly with whether it's us or other paranormal groups or, just people who want to vibe there for a weekend because it used to be an Airbnb at some point, where that energy is just constantly being brought in. And so it's always possible that it's human beings that turn this into what it is. However, I go back to what we felt as that sun was setting, and the entire energy of that house just shifted the moment that sun went down. And I can't tell you how, honestly, we wouldn't go to the bathroom on our own. It was like Everybody took a partner. And the other thing that you have to understand about Lloyd Wright's work is that they are all like mazes. Now, I've been looking at this footage for 7 years. I know my way inside and out of the Soden house and the Samuel Navarro house. But if I take myself back to when we were there, we were constantly getting lost. It was like we'd go down one colonnade and it's like, God, how did I end up on this side? And you can see straight across. You can see where the kitchen is. You can see where, but you would still get lost. And I always kind of go back to George Hodel's victims and think, my God, can you imagine? Because there's no way out of that place. There's just no way out.
Right.
You're stuck. And it's a maze. And if you're going down one corridor, they both look alike. They both look alike in both directions. And you just literally, it's a little bit of a freak out.
But don't you think part of that is also deliberate? I mean, it's a bit of
I think
magical.
It's 100% deliberate, especially if you look at, did we get into this in the links? The Marquis de Sade, who they all revered.
Yes. Yeah.
And the layout of that is the nunnery of Marquis de Sade, which was also a trap for victims.
Yeah.
Where you couldn't get out.
Also a trap for energy, though.
Yes.
Lorraine would actually always talk about that. Any place you have very dark corners in a house is a place where very dark energies can hide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a double trap, right? It's not only meant to confuse victims, but you're right. You're right, Katrina. It's also used for energy.
It's also very Ghostbusters, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like building a building for for that specific use of attracting energy and putting out energy, bringing in energy.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And what if you don't really know what you're doing?
Which is most people, I think.
and you mess with stuff and then wrong freaking thing.
Yeah.
But then put on top of it, just talking about Dr. Hodel, the fact that he's bringing in victims for whatever he's using them for, whether it be for, supposedly parties that were going on there. If we're talking about Elizabeth Short and her life in particular, the idea that, there was so much that was cast about her life. The fact that some people called her a party girl, which there's a school of thought that she wasn't really a party girl. She was on the up and up, but she was tricked. That's one school of thought, that she was tricked into the end of her life. There's another that says that, she was wanting to just be an actress, that she wanted to be involved in the Hollywood scene. There's another that says she was truly a party girl and that she ended up in Dr. Hodel's clutches. No matter what it was with Elizabeth Short, she ended up in that house and ended up confused. Obviously, the house works, right?
Yeah.
No matter what, whether it be energetically, physically, whatever it was that was built there at the Soden house works.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. And it's a scary proposition to whoever owns it. If it's being used for nefarious means, obviously it's being used the way Lloyd Wright intended it to be used, seemingly the way Hodel used it. And the people who end up getting a hold of it, knowing that that's the way it was built, or getting the idea that that's the way it was built, well, they've got themselves a little honey trap that they've bought. People who are unaware and just think it looks cool, well, then obviously they've stumbled upon what they think is just a piece of art.
Which I never understand. I mean, I honestly look at that and I don't see art at all. I just don't. I don't see, when we were looking at Chichen Itza and Kukulkan, if you look at that, at the window, the jaws part of it, and in a very specific light, it really reminds me of that kind of beast that from within, and it sucks you in. And, back to the sacred geometry, when you have the drone up there, you can see straight through that front window, all the way through the courtyard, and straight back to the second pyramid where the studio is. So you have this straight energy line, not only from the top, but also straight in through the thing. It's really kind of crazy when you start to break that house down. And then if you look at the textile blocks, they're very serpenty. They've got a very snake serpent feel to them. And then when the two fire pyramids where the pylons were there, if you look at those, it looks like there's eyes staring at you. I think I put a couple of the photos in there in episode 1, but it feels like eyes are watching you from everywhere, just the way the textile blocks are. So the whole thing, to me, was very creepy. And I think it was to our entire team. Like I said, we wouldn't go to the bathroom on our own. It's like, who's going with me? We bonded very well.
I don't blame you. You know, it's interesting too, watching the show. There's tales there of not just the psychics on your team, and you've got some wonderful psychics, and we'll talk about them here in a second. But the paranormal team having experiences even before they got to the house. If you would, Lisa, tell me a little bit about how the Soden house is probably more exceptional than any other paranormal place that you've been to when it comes to being forewarned about what you're getting into.
Well, I think that when we went in, we had no idea that there was a portal there. And I think that, you know, the crazy thing is portals are really, really rare, but you can't deny that there is just something pulling that energy in. And what else is a portal but a vortex that pulls it in? And wherever the demonic came from, again, not our jam. We are not there to find the demonic, but it was there and it was prevalent, and it was, it stayed with us all even after the investigation. I had what I would call the ick, and it would like start in my solar plexus and move out. And I went and had an exorcism, so to speak. She calls herself an exorcist, but it's just a cleansing, you know, to get rid of what was in there. And I felt much better. I know every single team member felt that way. Karen got attacked when we got home, but it was only the victims reaching out. It was just a all around truly horrifying experience because none of us were prepared for that. Had I known that there was a portal or a demonic element to that, I would have flown Kelvin in, you know, but we were only going there to test ghost boxes. And so in order to understand the responses from the ghost boxes, you needed history. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to bring our mediums in, and we'll do a full investigation. But Kelvin lives in New Zealand, so flying him in just seemed a little crazy. And I will always regret that because we had to leave the victims in the basement behind that night because none of us knew what we were doing. Even Joe said, I don't even know that I believed in this until right now. And I think none of us did.
I felt a little bad for Joe in that situation of the Soden house because he and I'll tell you, this is just my own opinion. And I was saying this to the person I was watching the show with. I said, you know, and it's only my own opinion. I believe there's levels of deepness to certain mediums when it comes to spirituality and how spiritually deep they are and how much they can see, right?
Yeah.
It's the ones that can actually see the demonic are the ones that I buy into. If they tell me there's no such thing as a demonic and they tell me that, all I see is love and light, I back away and I run because to me, it's one thing for them to say, well, I've never had an experience with the demonic. Okay, fine. Well, to me, that's like saying, well, I haven't had one either. It's not that you go looking for it, right? It's just that you've never had the experience. But to say, right, I don't believe in it or I don't believe it exists, to me seems naive, right? It's like saying, I've never met an evil person in my life, right? It just doesn't happen.
Right. Equivalent. Yeah, it's the equivalent. And there's always going to be good with evil and evil with good, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And so when Joe said just what you said, that he didn't even know if he had believed in it up until that case and that time, I went, oh, Joe, no. This is a whole new ball game that you're getting into, my friend. Yeah. Whole new ball game, right? And I thought, boy, is he in for a ride. It's and I don't know, you know, unless you kind of buck up quick, I don't know how you're going to get through it, right?
I mean, I was actually amazed at how, you know, there was a point, and it's not in the episode, where I felt like what was happening in the dining room was meant for Joe. In other words, this was his initiation. He works really closely with his guides. And what happened was during the day, he did the quickest walkthrough I've ever seen. He like refused to go into the master bedroom where Elizabeth Short was killed. He just like literally did a loop around the front, went to down the basement, stood outside for a while, and then went to the dirt part of the basement where the cadaver dogs had alerted, and then wouldn't enter even that. And I felt like, and he said this later when I did an interview with him, his guides were easing him into this because his world was about to be rocked and changed forever, because he did readings. He was like, I dealt with love, light, and peace, and, here's granddad. So to me, it was his guides easing him in, because by the time we got to the night stuff and he started tuning in and really understanding what was happening around him, I felt like it was his initiation. That was all of our initiations, but for him, I felt like it was his journey, which is why he started talking so much in the dining room with the ghost boxes. And I think had the poop scared out of him when he demanded in God's name for the demon to give it to him. He said, "Oh, no, I don't." I think it shocked us all to hear that.
Yeah.
Because that's my Catholic upbringing. We're stronger. And if you invoke that name, they have to reply. And he was that, whatever that was like, "Oh, no, I don't." And it was like, oh.
Well, right. And being a Catholic altar boy myself, I went, first of all, you kind of called him out the wrong way. Second of all, he doesn't have to do anything when you call him out that way. He can kind of laugh at you. And having, I think Katrina will back me on this, not having an exorcist on site, I thought it was kind of brave of him. I don't know what you think, Katrina, but...
Yeah. I mean, my first demonic case, they sent us home. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I think it's kind of brave when you're trying to confront the demonic and you don't have the proper tools, and doing it yourself, and then second of all, not doing it properly. You're in for a shock. And the fact of the matter is, and I think even Katrina will tell you this, they'll twist what you say. You'll start to talk to them and they'll start to talk in riddles. And I started to hear the riddles coming out, and I went, oh boy, this is going to go out of control real quick.
They're like, the best way I was told to think about them is they're the same thing as, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, if you've ever had somebody, like a real person in your life who is, and I know the word gets thrown around a lot, but like an actual narcissist. So like narcissistic personality disorder, not just some traits, or like antisocial personality disorder. It's, they'll throw in some truths here and there, but their whole thing is like to have you question your reality. Mm-hmm. And so it's very disorientating, blah, blah, blah. Can't say that word right now. Mm-hmm. When, you meet people like that. And I think this darker energy acts the same way from what I have been told. And from what, I think some of the cases I've been on seems to follow that pattern. So you'll have a lot of lies, a lot of manipulation, a lot of kind of turning your world upside down, what you know to be true, what you know to feel true upside down. And then every now and again, a truth will be put in there just so you question, well, wait, that was the truth. So then is everything else a lie, or what is a lie? And it's foundation breaking. And
I can tell you that
way.
We absolutely, there's so much that is not in the episode. My dad had recently died. It came through loud and clear. We've got Stan here. And I was like, God. My dad had just passed away. And I was like, and then we literally, one of our cats passed away, and I had to bring the body with us to the Soden house before it could be picked up. And it started saying the cat's name that night and playing with me that way. We've got the cat. The cat's, this cat's soul is here. And stuff about John and the babysitter at home, you better make a phone call. I mean, it really started. There's a lot in there that someday I'll edit together that were really disturbing and really threw us off our game.
I bet.
And that's the thing too. They work off of vulnerabilities. So that was one of the reasons I think we got sent home all those years ago, because we just didn't have the experience. And because of that, you're kind of vulnerable. And if you're going through any kind of tough emotional time in your personal life, that's when they'll find their way in. Lorraine always told me it was like a house with a bad foundation. Not that if you're vulnerable, you have a bad foundation, but just that, there's cracks in your foundation at the moment, and pests will find their way in to cracks of a foundation. So it's the same way, according to Lorraine, who was a demonologist. So yeah, it's not fun, I don't think, if you've had to work on those cases or dealt with that kind of energy.
No, it's really scary. I mean, all these years later, it's easy to look back and talk about it, but at the time, it was really terrifying. Those 3 nights that we were there, I mean, really terrifying. And
I think, without giving too much away, and I think, Katrina, you might agree with me on this. When you're watching the show,
let's find out.
Let's find out, shall we? For those of you who watch it, who are investigators or have that sort of interest in watching stuff that involves the demonic, is it David is the one that they go after the most? The demonic go after the most?
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep your eye on that. There's a reason for it. And I think Katrina will agree. They tend to go after the strongest first. Yeah.
It's interesting. I think it can be for different reasons. One of the things, and I'll just relate this back to, again, like my time working in the field on those types of cases. It was the first case I worked on where we got sent home, the one I keep referencing. I remember I was doing an interview with the client's boyfriend. I think he was a live-in boyfriend. They had been together for a long time. And I remember when I was talking to him, it felt like I had drank like a fifth or like a handle of vodka. Mm-hmm. And it was just like instant, like I felt woozy. I felt dizzy. I felt like my vision was off. I couldn't concentrate on anything he was telling me. And we brought Lorraine in on that case later because initially we didn't think that was a negative case. We kind of thought it was just like a mom and pop haunting. And when I had asked her about that, because I had never experienced that before, I didn't know what was happening. And I didn't really know if it was spiritual or not. Like it just, nobody else experienced it. So I knew it was nothing like in the house environmentally. But what she told me, and again, this is a religious demonologist viewpoint. But what she told me is that they will attack people who are more sensitive, because they're easier to get to, mm-hmm. and they can throw you off your course. And if they throw you off your course, you'll leave the case. You won't complete the case. You won't mm-hmm. complete your quote unquote mission. So it's all designed to, again, it's like bullies or just like people who like purely live for the thrill of manipulation.
Yep. And if you punch the strongest in the face first and they back off, then you pick off the weaker ones next.
It's very Walking Dead, isn't it? Yeah. Like, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, completely. That's completely the scenario,
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the scenario was here. But again, watch the show in order to figure out what happens next, because it's very intriguing. The entire I was, like I said, enthralled throughout the entire. I didn't move. Throughout the entire 3 episodes. I was glued to my couch as I was watching this, because it's as you're sitting, and not only just the history part of it, and how entirely evil Dr. Hodel is, and how things are fit together, and there's another house we're going to talk about here after the break, and how this other house ties in to the first house we're talking about here. But not only that, but in the different investigations and things that are going on, and the different entities, the psychics that tie in here. We haven't even talked about Detective Karen Smith and the wonderful work that she does here, in the boots on the ground work that she's doing here. But there's all this that's brought together. You've got the work that's done with the physical, with the supernatural, and it all comes together in one wonderful package. And as it's put together, I think, Lisa, honestly, the package that you put together here and put, again, I'm going to use an old term, put on film or put on our screens, is been put together on the screen in a way that we haven't seen before. And that's what's important. I'm not going to mention others that have attempted it, but they haven't put it on the screen in this way, right? We haven't gotten the genuine investigation along with a genuine investigation, paranormal investigation, along with a genuine true crime investigation, and then put them together to make them match so that we get the physical with the metaphysical. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's also very modern.
Yeah.
Looking like, yeah. I mean, and I think that's just I think what drew me to the project really was everybody in their job is in their job because they're good at their job.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not just like a network throwing people together being like, oh, this person kind of works and this person maybe was in law enforcement for a year, so let's put them in that role. And Lisa has been in film and television for decades. Karen has been an investigator for decades. The psychics have been, Kelvin's been doing this since, very well-known psychic since the 90s, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So I just think everybody is very good at what they do. And I think it translates to the screen.
Extremely good at what they do. Yeah. I was blown away by Karen, to be honest with you. Karen leaps off the screen at how, what an expert she is at everything she does. Right. And then she brings in experts on top of that, in the crime field too. From examiners to and I've only seen the first 3 episodes, so I don't know who she's bringing in next, but to bring in examiners and to back up the things that she's, even her hypothesis on things that have happened in crimes from the past, to bring them in, and then to bring in these little tidbits that she's found out off screen. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. These things that even we haven't found out anywhere else. Just speaking from me, from talking to different people that have brought different tidbits from old crimes in their books, I think Karen has come up with more little tidbits in these 3 hours that I've watched from different crimes than I've heard from different authors in doing 20 years of this show. In just those 3 hours.
Thousands of hours of research. And if you could see our web of connections document that's now 135 pages long, of just starting all the way at the 1700s and all the way through, of all the connections that she's made and the things that she found that can't tell you yet, but things that she found, that lead us to our other investigations. And even what she comes up with at the Cecil Hotel is, I think, going to blow everybody away. So
I can't wait for that episode. When that came up, Cecil Hotel, I went, why can't I see it before you come on the show? I can't wait for that episode. I'll tell you what, let's take our break here. When we come back, let's talk about the other house that's involved here. And then I want to get a little bit into, we started to mention the psychics a little bit here. And we'll talk a little bit about the paranormal investigators here too. And then I have an important, we'll talk a little bit about Steve Hodel too as well, and a little bit about the history of the Hodels. I don't want to get too deep because I want people to watch the show and to really get into what it is we're talking about here. But I want to kind of straighten this thread out a little bit so that people get an idea of what we're talking about. Voices from the Grave is the name of the show. We have a link in the description of this program so you can go subscribe to the channel, watch the show completely. Folks, you gotta see this show. I'm telling you, it's a perfect blend of true crime and the paranormal. Join the investigation, watch it on YouTube, go to the website, get fully immersed and fully involved here. And by gosh, get involved here, folks. It's I'm telling you, I got enthralled in this show, and I can't wait to see episode 4. That's what I'm on pins and needles about. So I tell you what, when we come back, more with Lisa and Katrina, and we'll get into some questions about the psychics. And then I have a theory here that was brought up in Newsweek, but it turns out it's not a new theory. I'll tell you what that theory is and why is this theory coming up in Newsweek. We'll talk about it as well when we come back right here on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guests are Alisa Statman and Katrina Weidman. Katrina, the executive producer of, and Alisa, the creator of Voices from the Grave. It's available right now on YouTube. We have a link in the description of this program, so you can go watch the programs first of all. And then we have a link to the website, voicesfromthegrave.com, so you can go join the community. Get involved, folks, in not only watching the episodes, but get involved in the community as well. Lots of good stuff there. All right, Lisa, I want to throw it back to you here for a second. I want to talk a little bit about the psychics on the show. You have a few of them. We've already talked a little bit about Calvin, a little bit about Joe. Is it, I'm trying to remember how you pronounce her name. Is it Marine? Marine. Yeah. I almost said Marine layer. What's that?
Like a marine layer.
Like a marine layer. Okay. I don't know why I want to call her Marianne. It's Marine.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me, where did you find Marine, first of all? And I noticed something from one house to another. By the time you get to... Actually, I no offense. I can tell one house is shot... It's shot out of sequence. I could tell that because you could tell she's grown quite a bit in the first episode from the second episode. Especially, what's a good way to put this? Not only is she's affected, I think, a little bit more by the spirits. Not only that, but she's when you're at the Los... I think you pronounce it Los Feliz or Los Feliz house.
Los Feliz, yeah.
Yeah, Los Feliz house. She's keeping them at a distance. She's getting more empathetic or letting them more in and feeling them more, like she's letting them closer to her heart or spirit when you get closer in the first episode. It's almost like she's letting them in too much. Right? Like she's feeling the fear herself. She's feeling the actual strangling herself. Like it's almost like she's having a hard time separating that feeling. And I'm wondering, is it the severity of the haunting in your opinion? Because I've noticed like with Joe, he was pretty even keel throughout the entire time. Calvin, I tell you, what a medium, what a psychic. This guy was, the entire time, boots on the ground, could keep. I mean, he's amazing. But I noticed with her that in that first episode, it was almost like the haunting itself was starting to overwhelm her. Did you find that?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things to look at here. You got to remember that the Los Feliz house in California, we call Los Feliz, but it's actually Feliz. At the Los Feliz house, that was Marine's first investigation. So you have to go all the way back to 2016. Okay. Then the Soden house was 2018. So that was actually her second investigation. To address what you're saying, I think that, there's a certain thing with some people who feel like they failed in what they've done in a previous thing, which is unfortunate because there's no such thing as failure if you're trying and if you're delivering whatever it is. I think that Marine got to the Soden house, and my personal opinion is opened up too far.
Okay.
And that's always a danger for a medium, I think, is finding that balance. And I think she wanted to do so good that maybe she opened herself up too far. And I think that can happen to the best of us, when you want to succeed or you're trying so hard to have something happen. So I agree with what you're saying about what happened to her during the Soden investigation. And I do believe that because she was so open, that she did come under attack more than she probably should have, which is why I didn't let her come down into the basement with us, because I just felt like at that point it was just too dangerous for her to do that. And also why I told her to get out of George Hodell's office. There's also, the element of, excuse me, depending on your belief, is that in spirituality and things like that, we all kind of felt like, at least in the aftermath, that we were being tested by George Hodell. And I think that sometimes George goes after the vulnerable or those that he can intimidate. And I think that that was also his goal that night with her, more so than anybody else, was that testing. How far can I push? How can, can I break her?
Yeah. Yeah.
And even down in the basement, he said to me at some point, I'll break her. And,
Yeah.
So I think that had a lot to do with it as well.
I think you're right. It was alarming to see at times. Just that you kind of got that feeling, like, not that she was over her head. You knew that she's skilled. It's just that she was being played with, and you worried for her. I think it's a safe thing to say that
Yeah.
She wanted, you got that feeling she really wanted to perform, and I don't know that perform is the right word here, but she really wanted to do well for everybody. Yeah. And she was hitting on everything. That's the thing. But it was, how far is she willing to go, and how far was she willing to sacrifice herself in order to get those results? Right. And it's kind of like, you really don't have to put yourself that far out there in order to.
I agree.
Right.
And it's not safe. It's not safe for anybody. It's not safe for anybody when that happens. But we got the answers.
True. Very true. Very true.
And more questions.
And more questions. You're right. You're right. We've kind of teased now the Los Feliz house. Tell us a little bit here, Lisa, about that Los Feliz house, and why do you transition from the Soden house to the Los Feliz house?
We investigated. So the history of the Los Feliz house is it was built in 1926 for Harry and Florence Schumacher. They both died of mysterious deaths in 1950, I think. Dr. Harold Perlson and his family moved in December 6, 1959. Dr. Perlson attacked his daughter, killed his wife, and then killed himself. But the real mystery for me in that house was the fact that in 1959, the Enriquez family bought it as is in a probate auction. They never cleaned it up. They didn't clean up the blood. They didn't clean up the crime scene. They didn't even move out the Perlsons' belongings. So for 50 years, this house sat as a time capsule. So that was our first investigation. And it was my testing of bringing this whole team together. How well will they work together? Will people get along? Will they not get along? Will the mediums be able to, coincide with things? And that was the whole purpose of going to that house was, I assumed that there would be a couple scenarios where the Perlson stuck in there. Was Harold Perlson holding Lillian Perlson hostage there? And what happened for these 50 years, why the Enriquez family owned it. And those were really the mysteries that we went for. And again, shocked at what we heard. And I think that when you go back to 2016, while our mediums were really spot on the things that they got, at the time, there was so much information that they were giving me that I thought, I don't know where any of this is from. Is it during the Enriquez period? They were coming up with names and, multiple murders in the house. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it didn't make any sense to me at all. Then you cut to 2 years later and we're at the Soden house and we're getting almost the same messages that they were giving to the mediums back at the Los Feliz house. And I remember at the time thinking, this sounds like exactly like what they got at the Los Feliz house. What is the correlation here? And then when they bring up the name Schumacher, then you go, okay, there is a combination of these two houses, but we don't know what it is. And so that's why we go back to the Los Feliz house in episode 2 is I wanted to take the audience on the journey with us. Because if the audience watched the Los Feliz episode first, they'd be as confused as I was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It would lose its impact. So we had to start with the Soden house and understand the importance of the Feliz house, the Los Feliz house. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. And then what I loved about episode 3 was really letting Karen shine and letting her get in there and put those links together, which I thought was absolutely amazing. And again, I think we really ought to let the audience get in there and see how exactly you put together the supernatural with the physical and actual occurrences and placing history and forensics together, which is brilliant. I mean, that you know, and then saying, well, you know, mediums can throw stuff out there and you can correlate mediums and you can take mediums and you can place little bits of history in there. But you know what, when we get, you know, everything from relatives on the phone and do genealogy and take medical reports and all other things and put this all together into one big stew, boy, oh boy, now you've told a story and now you've really completed the puzzle. And that's something that I find absolutely fascinating. And again, something that's never been brought to a video screen.
And the fact that she found blood there 59 years later.
Yeah.
Is, you know, that's always been Karen's trait. She finds things that nobody else can find. And the fact that she was able to get that blood up, I'm still blown away by that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is quite amazing. That is quite amazing. Let me ask you, you know, you got an amazing amount of time with Steve Hodel. I mean, he really was quite generous with his time in the project. I want to switch focus here to Steve here for a second, because he was quite generous with his time with us as well. I think we spent a couple of episodes with Steve on this program, and we talked quite extensively about George Hodel. And at the time that we talked with Steve about George, I want to get your thoughts here, Lisa, about this, because I got the impression that, of course, it's not your typical father-son relationship, of course. But I also get I didn't get the idea that he was as repulsed as I would think he would be by what it was his father did. Did you get that idea that he was more of an observer looking at his own life than he was an active participant in it?
You mean Steve?
Yeah, Steve, right.
Yes and no. I think that there were some private moments with Steve where he allowed his emotions to come out further, where he really has a love-hate relationship with George. You know, he's still his father and he still loves the man who was his father, but he absolutely despises the killer. And I think that, you know, so many of us become, and especially when you're a homicide investigator or detective, as Steve and Karen were, you see so much and so much horror. And I think that it's sometimes easier to just put that block up and go, okay, I'm just going to deal with the psychological portion of this, as opposed to, if I think too hard about what my father actually did, and I've seen these in 100, not me, but talking for Steve or Karen, I've seen this live and up front. You're looking at black and white photos. I've seen this in color, in living color, right in front of me. And I think that there is that tendency to put that wall up and go, I'm not going to get into that too far because it is so disturbing that I can't. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's a protective barrier that a homicide investigator has to put up when you are dealing with your father being the monster that you've chased your entire life. You know, not George, but other killers.
Right.
You know, I think that there is that level of just needing to have that protective barrier when you've put so many bad guys away, and here you are putting your own father away. And I think that is a lot of it, as opposed to anything else. It's that psychological survival that they have to have. The
reason why I state it that way, I guess, is because I think most of us, I think if most of us are thrown in that situation, I think the one thing we want to do, you're forced to either run toward it or run away from it, right? So you either run toward it, you become the investigator, and you want to solve crimes like this, and you want to put away Dad and put away people like him, or you want to run away from it and you want to do anything but acknowledge it, right? You just don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And you see him acknowledging it and going after others like his father and putting them away and wanting to talk about it. But you don't, to me, it seems like, he doesn't really say the word Dad. He says George. It seems like there's this disconnect there. It's George. It's this other man who did this, right? There's very much that disconnect of it's George Hodel, George this. And it's almost like he's talking about a different person. It's this person over here. It's not.
I think that goes back to the protective. When he's talking about his childhood, he'll say, my father.
Yeah.
When you get into the adult of what he knows as an adult, it's very much George.
Yeah. And it's almost like I need that healthy barrier because, the man who would tuck me in at night, the man who told me he loved me can't be the man who butchered all these people.
Yeah.
Can't be the man.
If you think about how Steve started this whole thing, it wasn't to prove that George was the killer of the black guy. It was to disprove that he was the killer of the black guy. He was so upset with his sister for insinuating that he literally set out to prove her wrong and ended up down a quite different path.
Yeah. But you would think now that you have the proof, you have to, I hate to use this term, but you have to kind of come to Jesus and say, okay, well, I have the proof now, and now I have to marry that concept in my head. Yeah. And I have to stop saying George and Dad, and I have to say Dad did it, right? I have to kind of acknowledge.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure that I could. I'm not sure that I could ever go down that path. If I found out tomorrow that somebody said my dad was a serial killer, I think I would have such a hard time. But I think eventually there would always be that separation of like him and him. Because how else do you mentally cope with that? I can't. It's something I don't think too many people can conceive.
We see it with public figures, even maybe not so much. Well, you can go the murder route. There's been public figures that have been accused of horrific crimes, and people can't wrap their heads around that person because we have an idea of who that person is. And I think it's the same thing, probably, if you find out a family member, we have an idea of who the people in our lives are. Mm-hmm. And when there's a narrative that says, actually, you don't know that person, and they're capable of like this horrific act, it's how do you reconcile that? And I think I think it's natural. People have a very hard time understanding how that's possible. And I think that's why you get so many, I'm sure we could talk about a number of public figures who have been accused or convicted of horrible things. And you'll see people still claiming their innocence.
Sure.
Yeah.
Even though overwhelming evidence says otherwise. You know?
Look at O.J. Simpson. Look at Robert Blake. Look at, the famous people who get put on trial and everybody's like, there's no way. And,
But yet there's evidence that says otherwise. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just say that because I think probably not too many of us have had that experience where it's somebody personal we know, mm-hmm. but maybe we can liken it to, we've all seen that with public figures.
Yeah.
That's
a really good point.
Yeah. And I get that denial isn't just a river in Egypt. I get that. But but it's also, it also can be crippling too, right? Denial can also keep you from emotional, spiritual growth. It can cause disease. It can there's different things it can do and get you in some real trouble,
Yeah, no doubt.
So.
But I think, the important thing with Steve is he may be in denial about saying this was my father, but he's not in denial of who the man was. And
Very
he's
true.
done everything he can to bring closure to this. And he did, he took this evidence to DA's office back in the day when his book first came out. And the DA, Stephen Kay, said, I would definitely file charges on Elizabeth Short and one other. He took it to the LAPD and sat down with them for 2 hours. And the chief at the time, I can't remember what his name is, we're going back 15 or so years ago, said, I'm going to tell my detectives to close the case. And then he was no longer chief of police 6 months later, so it never happened. So, that the evidence was compelling. And I think even more compelling was that, you have to remember, Steve put all this out in Black Dahlia Avenger. And as a result of that book, the Hodel secret wiretap transcripts were found after his book came out. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a pretty phenomenal thing, because in those wire transcripts, you had for close to 50 days, 17 detectives, 24/7, listening in at the Soden house on live wires. It wasn't phone taps. They were listening in on live wiretaps. So that's a lot of effort to put into somebody that's a, if sure, maybe suspect. Right. I mean, they really thought that he was the killer. And I think that the fact that that was found after Steve's book came out is pretty phenomenal. It's not like he went, oh, look at this and let me build a case around this. It's like that came out afterwards. And I think it seals the deal for me. I mean, in so many ways.
That's incredibly strong evidence. Yeah, it's hard to deny that. That's for sure. With that being said,
and then what he says during the trial, during wiretaps, they killed the Black Dahlia. They can't find out anything on me now. My secretary's dead. So there are confessions in there.
Yeah, you're right about that, Lisa. You're very right about that. With that being said, now I want to tackle this as we're getting to the end of our time together. You do have people out there that are writing books, that are coming up with theories, that are saying, we don't think it was George Hodel at all. We have this other theory over here. We have this other theory over here. We think it was this person. It was that person. One of the theories that's out there this week, and I'll just quote from it here. I have the Newsweek article up in front of me, is a theory that looks very familiar. In fact, it's in your own program. And it's one of Steve's theories, that the Zodiac Killer and Black Dahlia are the same man. In fact, Steve says that it's the Black Dahlia Killer and the Zodiac Killer are his father. And he brings forward very compelling evidence in the fact that the language that Zodiac uses, well, you know what? I'm not going to blow it for the audience. They can see it on the program. But essentially, the article says that a man by the name of Alex Baber comes forward, who runs a firm called Cold Case Consultants of America, and tells the Los Angeles Times that he claims he cracked the Zodiac Killer's cipher to reveal the name using artificial intelligence, and in the process also solved the Black Dahlia murder, which to me seems kind of suspect here, Lisa, because I just watched your program and I know for a fact that's not how it happened.
Right.
I saw how it happened. And when I read this article, Baber says the name hidden in the cipher he says the name is Marvin Merrill, which is an alias used by Marvin Margolis, who had been considered by Los Angeles detectives as a viable suspect in Elizabeth Short's murder. Short was posthumously dubbed by the press as Black Dahlia. So he's saying Marvin Margolis, and it took AI and some other stuff to figure this all out. Okay, I'm going to, pardon my language and my French, and by the way, I took 9th grade French, but that's absolute bullshit, right? We know it didn't happen that way. I'll say it this way. I know it didn't happen that way. You don't have to speak on it. I know it didn't happen that way. So, and I know if I got a hold of Steve Hodel right now and got him on this program, he'd tell you it didn't happen that way. In fact, I think I might call up Steve Hodel and have him on the show, just so that we can hash it out. He and I can hash it out together. But the fact of the matter is it seems to me that there's other people wanting to pile on and say, well, no, it's not George Hodel. Despite the overwhelming evidence, it's this person over here. It's this person over here. Why is it, Lisa, that we want to go away from George Hodel and we want to find others that to be responsible for this crime? Why do we want to go away from the overwhelming evidence?
I think that, when you're dealing with a case like Elizabeth Short and the Black Dahlia, it's always newsworthy, no matter what it is. You say Black Dahlia and people will flock to watch it. So it's almost like a capitalization of it. What's new in your story that, when you write a book, and what's the first thing to say? Well, what's new in this? Why should we publish this? And I think it's the same thing. I think what's sad for all of it, except for my humble opinion of George Hodel, is that, this is all about bringing closure to the victims and the victims' families. And that should always be in the forefront of everybody's mind when they're looking at these cases. And when you have people who are just looking to make a name for themselves or to get themselves out in public, or their company out in public, or their book, or whatever it is, I always find it really disheartening that the victims are then shoved aside for somebody to make monetary gain. And I think that, that is what happens in all of this. And I think that one of the reasons that I gravitate and I love Steve Hodel so much is that, honestly, since his first book came out, he's not made any money on this. He self-publishes, he does all his own work, he's got his own things that he's doing. And, I think that's a pretty wonderful thing. But I think that is a major reason for it. And with this new investigation that's coming up, I think or this new theory and this, I think what's most disheartening to me in the whole thing is saying they're going to do DNA on him. And Steve Hodel has been begging LAPD to do DNA. He's been saying, make me look like the biggest idiot on the planet, please. Mm-hmm. I will accept whatever results they were. So I'm sitting back here looking at this going, this feels like Steve Hodel's story with different names in it. And now they're going to do DNA on this guy, but not George Hodel. I mean, somebody please explain to me, because I don't get it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's do DNA. Let's break it all out. Let's figure it out. Right.
Darren even called the detectives on some of the Zodiacs saying, can we please do DNA on George Hodel? And they said, you know what? Our hands are tied. We can't. They won't. And it's like, why?
Right. Because I think if you tie it up in a nice little bow after all this time, that never made sense to me, Lisa. What do you have to lose if you run the DNA on Hodel on either case?
Of course, and LAPD's priority. Go ahead, Katrina.
I was just going to say, I mean, is it so far-fetched to think there might be people with lineages that would have a lot to lose if something came out about George and it was like,
that's an upcoming
confirmed?
Episode. It's coming up in an upcoming episode. Some of the stuff they about.
Yeah, I'm just saying, is it so different than crimes we see today where we have rich and powerful people?
If you've got future episodes that's going to bust that open, then maybe we wait for those future episodes. It sounds intriguing. I know that.
There's some good stuff coming up about that Karen has found. That's really pretty freaking intriguing when it comes to who Elizabeth Short really was. Not bad, but
that's. I think we got the gist of it there, Lisa, about who exactly Elizabeth Short was, and it wasn't bad. Correct. Katrina, what were you going to say there?
There's a case I just worked on where lots of money involved with the location. I was at, very wealthy family. And through our psychic work, it kept leading us down this one direction and we didn't fully understand it. And so we went to the people, the caretakers, and we're like, hey, you know, this keeps coming up through a psychic and we don't fully understand this. Does this make sense to you? And the person was like, oh my gosh, your psychic is the only psychic that has ever brought this up. I can't believe they brought this up. And I can't say what it was, but just to highlight the point, the person our psychic was picking up on goes back generations, right? I mean, like maybe at least 2, probably 3, I think. Our psychic was picking up on something about them. When we brought it up to the caretaker was like, just an FYI, you can't talk about this publicly.
Really?
And we're like, why? And they were like, the family is threatened to sue us if we ever do. So, and this is like, again, these people are long gone.
Yeah.
But it's still their descendants don't want this getting out. So I don't really secrets are a funny thing. So is what I'll say.
Well, they really are. And if the descendants have any amount of power, influence, or money, they will hold on to that secret until it's long dead or gone, right?
Power, influence, and money seems to make the world go round in some circles, I guess.
That it does.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place for us to leave things off. But Voices from the Grave is available right now on YouTube. The first 3 episodes are up. Also, voicesfromthegrave.com is the website, and there's a community there as well. Any other notes here, Katrina, for people?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. So I think people definitely need to check out the YouTube episodes. We do live streams. The episodes are also premieres, so you can join in through the chats and follow along. And you can get to know the team that way. These locations are connected, and it's connected to the Hollywood elite and to a lot of secrets that were going on during like the golden era of Hollywood. And I think, again, we're seeing, I think if you're a true crime fan, you'll see a lot of parallels to other points in history and how, even though we're talking about cold cases, to me, what's interesting about it is it really so different than some of the things we see today? I don't know that it is, and so like in my head, I'm always like, well, where does the cycle stop? Mm-hmm. But I think too, what's really cool about this project is Karen also has a vault that you can sign up through their website, and there's a vault that you can be part of, and you'll get Karen's case notes. And you can be a part of the you can be a part of the investigation that way. So there's a lot of neat ways to be interactive with this. And I think too, I know a lot of people are, because we hear it all the time, like, oh, I'm so sad my ghost shows aren't on television anymore. But you know what? I honestly really think that television shows, like you're a spectator, where YouTube, like you're part of it.
Yes.
And I think for something like this project, where it was never intended to be this whole web of connections, they stumbled upon it through their work, and they didn't have a network involved. So they didn't, and for people who don't know, if a network is involved, they have like the final call of, this is what we're going to show. This is what we're going to leave on the table. Yes, you can go to that location. No, you can't go to that location, and because they didn't have that, they were able to follow these breadcrumbs as they popped up for them. So I think that's also a really interesting dynamic of this investigation. So I think if you're into true crime and you're into real paranormal investigations, not like the things that are fake and hyped and all that stuff, then you want to check out Voices from the Grave.
Yeah, it's an absolutely amazing, intriguing program that is unlike anything else I think I've ever seen. I absolutely am digging it right now. It's enthralling. You just have to check it out, folks. And again, those first 3 episodes are up. I can't wait for number 4, Cecil Hotel. It's going to be something special. So, Lisa, got any notes before we sign off and go to Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals?
No, I think Katrina just really covered it all. Sorry, my internet went out, but yeah, thank you. And thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us today and giving us a little insight on the inside. Again, I really do enjoy this concept you've come up with, and thank you for bringing it to the community. That's it's really something quite special.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa, Katrina, thank you so much for being on today. And again, folks, voicesfromthegrave.com. We have the links in the description of this program. Go watch the shows, go get involved in the community, and again, support, like Katrina said, stop bellyaching about shows going away. Go support it on YouTube and go check it out. Okay, it's time for us to lighten things up a bit. It's time for us to bring in Jessica Freeberg, and it's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time again, the time we've all been looking forward to. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals, and with that, I need a co-hostess. And as we roll out of Christmas and roll into the new year, by gosh, some people would say, well, you need a new tradition, Tim. No, not me. I'm a traditionalist. Oh, yes, indeed, folks. I'm one that says, you know what? I need to stick with the tradition. I need to stick with what works for me. I need to stick with someone who can get the job done. Oh, yes, I need someone who brings me success. That's right. I don't need to sit there and mark out resolutions for the new year. Oh, no. I already have someone right here in my stable who's an eater of worlds, someone who is a destroyer of charts, someone who puts the fear in a man named Bender, who's shaking in his boots right now over there at the Hindustan Times, who said to me, sir, I haven't had a week off in God knows how long. And I said, that's all right, Bender. Saddle up, buddy, because 2026 is going to be a busy one for you. Because she's got not one, not two, not three, but 57 books coming out in 2026. By God, you're going to have a busy year, my friend. Oh, yeah. Here she is. Ladies and gentlemen, she's lovable, affable, got a hell of a smile on her. She's looking forward to a year where she's going to destroy the literary world. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, Jessica Freeberg. Hi, Jess.
Hey, what a great intro. 57 books?
I think so.
Thank you.
Isn't that what they put in the catalog this year for 2026 from your publisher?
Oh, I hope not.
No? Oh.
You're going to be really disappointed when they only get 3.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe they overpromised. I don't know.
Yeah, under promise and over deliver. Isn't that the rule?
I think that is, yeah.
Okay.
I maybe it's us that's doing 157 shows next year, I think.
It might be.
Yeah. That's the average on an average year that we do.
Wow. That's a lot.
It is.
You're busy.
Yeah, a little bit. I got to tell you, before we jump into this, I do go back and I look, I like to look at the end of the year at the amount of shows we've done, the guests we've had on, and you kind of look at the tapestry, right? After it's done, after it's completed, just to see what the game plan was and how it turned out, right? Kind of like a good coach. Kind of you sit down and you kind of review the game after it's been played.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd like just to look at it just briefly as you move ahead and then you plan out the next year, right? And I sat and looked at it this past year and I went, wow, pretty good year, pretty darn good year. I was just impressed. Right?
You should feel proud of it. You did a lot. You had a lot of great interviews. You introduced us to a lot of really great books. That's like my favorite.
Yeah.
There's been so many good books and authors on here. So many interesting conversations.
Well, beyond that, though, I think a lot of great entertainment, and again, can't do it alone. Yeah, I could never do it alone. I've got a great family around me that continues to support here, right? And you and Travis and Mally, and extended family, Rocky and Wayne and Bruiser, and you guys get together and you bring it every single time. So it's not, there's never a day off, right? There's no such thing as a bad day or a day off. So
no, yeah. And you make it easy because you're just fun to talk to. Honestly, doing the show, you and I will sit here and banter back and forth for sometimes 40 minutes before a show starts.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to do that either because you're very busy.
But it really is like we're just talking when we're doing the show. So to me, it's just like, I get to hang out with Tim today for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it ends up being. I love it.
I do too. So again, before we get started, thank you, Jess. Thank you for an amazing year. It's been an amazing year.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be part of the fun. It's truly an honor to be here.
Yeah, well, it's my honor indeed. It's my honor indeed. So with that, we'll just jump right in today because, boy, have we got some pretty interesting stories. We're going to start out with, we still got Christmas stories to cover because evidently there was more naughty than nice this year. I don't know why. I guess people are still in the naughty spirit when it came to Christmas this year. And then we'll I think next week, we'll probably get back to the regular dumb crime, stupid criminals because criminals will get out of the Christmas spirit, I guess. I don't know.
Well, then they might be in the New Year's spirit. So
yes.
The holiday just continues and continues on.
It does, yeah. Then they'll be in the more wintry spirit. But we'll start it off, of course, in Florida. Because they never not misbehave, I think is the correct English there, right? Never not.
I think so. And I just got back from Florida and I was watching for Florida Man and their swamp skunk, or what do they call it there?
Skunk
Bigfoot.
ape?
Skunk ape. Thank you.
Yeah.
My gosh, my brain was not cooperating with me. I was looking for the skunk ape the whole time I was there. Skunk ape and Florida Man.
But were you in Pasco County?
No, what was happening in Pasco County?
See, Pasco County is the epicenter of Florida, man. It's the epicenter of all things evil in Florida.
Is that kind of like inland? Because I have a theory.
It's north of Tampa. And
okay.
It is, well, put it this way. I've spent many a day in Pasco County. And it is the anti-tourist area. It really, you just don't want to be there.
I feel like if you're in Florida and you're so close to the coast on either side of you, but you're in the center, you're going to go a little crazy because you're just so close to this beautiful, wonderful ocean and Gulf, and you can't see it. You're just going to get out your machete and run around naked killing people.
Pretty much. The most touristy area south of Pasco would probably be Clearwater. And that's Clearwater's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, Hulk Hogan had his board shop and karaoke palace there. His little shop and karaoke palace, bar there. There's in Clearwater's a little city in itself. Plenty of strip joints there. I mean, it's your typical Floridian trashy.
Sounds magical.
Story. Yeah, it is. It's a trashy little city. But Florida has no. I shouldn't say Florida. Pasco County has no zoning laws, so you could have a strip mall next to a beautifully gaudy little business building, next to a Rambler, next to. I mean, it's just all over the place. Anything could be zoned next to anything, so it's amazingly gaudy. Yeah,
that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's just horrible. You could have a steak.
So what are they doing down there? What naughtiness are they bringing us this week?
Well, this week, Jess, we're starting hot this week. A Florida woman is accused of murdering her 2 ex-husbands on the same day. So
wow.
Merry Christmas to her. Guess what? No alimony payments for her.
It's really getting it done.
That's right. December 17th was allegedly a very busy day for Susan Erica Avalon, who's a 51-year-old resident of Citrus County, Florida. Police say she murdered not one, but two of her ex-husbands. The sordid tale began last Wednesday in Bradenton, which is a city about 50 miles south of Tampa. See, we're staying in that Tampa area, where police responded to calls about a shooting at a residential neighborhood and found a 54-year-old man suffering from a gunshot wound to the abdomen. The man, whose name has been withheld in compliance with Florida law protecting the identities of crime victims, was transported to a local hospital where he died later that evening. He was able to briefly speak with police and when asked who could have shot him, he answered, possibly my ex-wife.
Oh, he knew.
Yeah, he definitely knew. According to investigators, the shooter first went to a nearby Panera Bread and stole an order intended for delivery because everybody gets hungry after a shooting. Apparently as a ruse to get the victim to open the door. The victim's, food delivery, Panera Bread, and then bang, bang.
Mr. DoorDasher.
That's right. The victim's 15-year-old daughter was home at the time and did not see the shooting, but heard the shots and told police she saw a silver Honda Odyssey minivan being driven away by someone wearing a surgical mask and a gray sweatshirt.
What a getaway vehicle.
What a getaway getup. Surgical mask and gray sweatshirt.
Whole thing.
Yeah. Avalon, by the way, owns a silver Honda Odyssey, so she wasn't quite imaginative with her getaway vehicle. Didn't even switch vehicles.
Not very bright.
Yeah. Manatee County Sheriff's Office detectives tracked the minivan traveling towards Citrus County using license plate reader technology and went to Avalon's home. When police arrived at Avalon's residence, they saw her coming outside carrying bleach and cleaning rags. Yeah. Busted?
A little bit.
Which they say were used to destroy evidence as they observed her getting into the Odyssey and starting to wipe down the interior. She's not very bright. The detectives approached Avalon to question her, saying they wanted to speak to her about her ex-husband. Which one? She replied at that point. Yeah. We're playing ex-husband roulette now. Which one? At that point, police became concerned about the well-being of her second ex, who is a Tampa resident. The MCSO cops called the Tampa Police Department, who sent officers to the second ex's home. They got no answer at that point.
Oh, no.
Yeah. The police went around the house and found damage to the rear door, entered and found him inside. And, of course, he was dead from multiple gunshot wounds. So that first stop we thought was a first stop was actually a second stop.
Huh. That's crazy. So she just had a list that day. Okay, kill Bob, and then go steal Panera, and then kill Fred.
Yep.
And then go home and bleach everything.
Yep, then bleach it all down and then finish the Panera, evidently, because that was still on hand, I guess. In a press conference, Manatee County Sheriff Rick Wells remarked how it doesn't get any more brazen than this, with the murder happening in broad daylight in a very active neighborhood with lots of people around. The sheriff described how Avalon's live-in boyfriend told them that Avalon had returned home wearing the gray sweatshirt and got right in the shower with her clothes on. That's sexy.
Not suspicious at all.
No. She didn't say anything about the murders, the boyfriend told police. You know, if you're the boyfriend at that point and you see her get in the shower with her clothes on, do you start packing right away to start finding a new place to live? I think I do.
Yeah, I think he got lucky that he's just a boyfriend and not an ex-husband.
Right, yeah.
Literally dodged a bullet.
And if she says, as she's munching on Panera, you know, I think things aren't going too well between us, at that point, do you get out?
Yeah, you run.
Yeah. But the day before, she had told him that if anything happened to her, she loves him and wanted him to know that. Comments that he found to be out of character for her.
Oh, it's very out of character for her to tell him she loves him.
And if anything happened to her, you know, if anything happens to me, I love you, honey. And, you know, carry on without me. Wells said that Avalon had been charged with second-degree homicide for the Manatee County crime and that the MCSO would be seeking the death penalty, working with the state attorney to convene a grand jury to pursue first-degree murder charges to see that happens, as well as cooperating with authorities in Tampa on the other murder case. Both investigations are still active and motive has not yet been determined. But Wells did say that Avalon owed the Bradenton victim about $4,000 in back child support and was potentially facing suspension of her driver's license soon if she did not pay. Something tells me the driver's license wasn't going to stop her.
No.
I just think she was clearing all bases, so to speak, on that day. Something tells me that was her own little Christmas present to herself.
Wow. Yeah, I think you're right. But geez, how creepy is that?
Yeah.
Like what like flip the switch to make her decide I'm just gonna be done with both of them.
Maybe she thought, got a future with the boyfriend, don't want any baggage, and we're gonna go forward from here.
Very strange.
Some people have a different line of thought there, Jess. They just,
I guess.
Yeah. They're just, you know what? We're going forward. Onward and forward, new day and all, you know?
I'm not looking back because the back is covered in blood.
Yes, it is. It's covered in entrails, so we're not going to look too long, folks. We're just, you know, it'll make us bring up our Panera. You know? That's how it goes. Our next story has an unusual look to it. I'll show you a picture of this guy in a little bit. I'll give you the headline first. A Florida Salvation Army bell ringer is arrested for trying to impale the store manager with his donation tripod.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, take a look at this guy right here. There he is. You see him?
He looks a little unhinged.
A little bit. I don't know that I'd give him the bell. You know what I mean? If I'm,
who would have thought the tripod could impale someone, though?
Well, anything with enough force. Yeah.
Thought never crossed my mind.
Well, it's not that. I think this guy's been watching too many movies. That's what I think. But yeah, we're staying in Florida. Surprise.
Okay.
All right. Martin County, Florida. A Salvation Army bell ringer has been arrested after attempting to impale a Publix. By the way, you got to go to a Publix, didn't you, Jess, when you were there?
I did. I sent you a selfie in front of a Publix because I'm like, I've finally been in one.
Yeah. See, and the sandwich is pretty good, right?
Yes. Yeah, I was impressed.
See, Publix is a good place, good spot. Although you do kind of take your life in your own hands when you go into a Publix, I won't lie. So after attempting to impale a Publix grocery store manager with his kettle tripod, that according to sheriff's deputies, 63-year-old, he's old enough to know better, still too young to care, Stephen Pavlik was arrested after a troubling incident while working as a Salvation Army bell ringer at the Publix on Canner Highway. Pavlik was hired to collect donations during the holiday season, but instead created a disturbance outside the store. Why? It's the Christmas season. You know, Jesus says to love, donate to the kettle, and please don't impale the store manager with your tripod. I think it's written in the Bible, Jess, if I remember right, isn't it?
I do remember that scripture, Tim. I think you're correct.
Yeah, I swear I remember.
Thou shalt not impale with tripods.
With tripods, yes. It's the 37th commandment, if I remember right. It says Pavlik was hired to collect donations during the holiday season, but instead created a disturbance outside the store. Here we go. Witnesses reported that he was intoxicated while on duty, confronting and disturbing customers who passed by. The situation escalated when the Publix manager approached Pavlik to address his behavior. In a violent outburst, Pavlik attempted to assault and impale the manager with a donation kettle, a tripod, fortunately missing his target and not causing injury. I'll let you think for a second about what that target might have been. Got it locked in there?
What was he aiming at? Yeah.
It's a small little target right in between the legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shooting for the bits.
That's right. After fleeing the scene, deputies later found Pavlik at his residence, because where else was he going to go? He was taken into custody without further incident and subsequently transported to the Martin County Jail. This face right here, Jess, does not say Merry Christmas to me. It just doesn't.
It certainly does not scream Happy Holidays at all.
It doesn't. That is a scary man right there. That's for sure.
Yikes. If I saw him ringing the bell, I would be, I don't know, clutching my purse.
I'd be clutching my own pearls, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd probably be like, I think I'm going to go to the Winn-Dixie.
Right. Yeah. Or you know what? The Wawa. Let's go to the Wawa instead. I can still get my sandwich there at the Wawa. By the way, did you try any of the Wawa while you were there?
You never saw a Wawa.
No?
No. There must have been one somewhere. I just kind of stayed in one general area.
You missed
Except
that,
when we
my
went to
friend.
the Everglades, maybe. But I was very focused on.
The next time you're there, try the Wawa.
Okay. Well, we will go back because we did the Everglade tour and my daughter was too afraid to do the boat.
Oh, no, really?
So and I was like, well, you can go with grandma on the like trolley thing that goes through the forest side, which I mean, looks interesting. It's not really, it's really lame. But I've always wanted to do one of the boats and everyone else went on the boat. And I'm not going to lie, when I saw the videos, I almost cried. I had to like hold back the tears because I was like, that looks so cool.
Right?
So I said, we're going to go back. And like 2 seconds into the trolley thing or whatever it was, this big bus that you sit on the top of and ride through the trees or whatever, Brielle looked at me and she goes, we should have done the boat.
See? This is what you tell the kid. You only live once. You grab life by the throat, you don't let go.
I know.
Right?
That's what I tried to tell her. When she said that, I said, I'm going to throw you over the side of this. And hope a skunk ape comes along and gets you.
That's right. You don't talk to your mother like that. Otherwise, you end up being skunk ape food. You tell her, listen, I know all about this paranormal stuff. I will put you in the middle of a bog somewhere where a skunk ape adopts you, and not only adopts you, makes you their own, and you never see Minnesota again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did make it fun because I was looking for Bigfoot the whole time. That, so I was like, he's going to be out there somewhere.
That's right. See?
But I didn't feel like I could talk about him because it was like the baby trolley tour. It was like all these little kids. I'm like, can't even ask the guide about Bigfoot.
Oh, no, you could. Sure. Yeah. Well, the kids may think it's fun because there's a baby Bigfoot out there somewhere.
Oh, that would be cute.
Yeah, they can make friends. I mean, yeah. Never limit yourself, my friend. Always ask the questions. Always seize the day. Always go out on the boat ride. Just do it while you can.
I know. So we are going back because I did not get to do that, and we're doing it next time.
Good. I like to hear that. Good. All right. For this next story, we're going to stay in Florida because, again, we're going to seize the day. As did this particular woman when it came to stealing these children's gifts from under a tree at a Florida hotel.
Oh, no.
Here's our Grinch right here. She looks like she probably stole a lot of trees and gifts and things.
It looks like a Sunday school teacher,
She
honestly.
does, doesn't she? Yeah. Yeah, she looks like she's probably teaching a lot of children to take people's gifts. Here's the story. A felony theft charge for a Grinch gift grab. Hard to say 10 times fast. Toys were swiped from underneath a Christmas tree at a Florida hotel. A 44-year-old woman is facing a felony charge for the Christmas morning theft of children's gifts from under the tree at a Florida hotel, according to police. Investigators allege that Erica Rothenbuehler. It's a... Anyone? Rothenbuehler. Entered the lobby of a Red Roof Inn early. First of all, if you're going to bring your Christmas gifts anywhere, definitely not the Red Roof Inn.
No, the Hilton, maybe.
Yeah.
The Holiday Inn.
You're right. Not the Red Roof Inn.
Not the Red Roof.
Right. If you're going to a Red Roof Inn, keep your Christmas gifts locked in the trunk. Just a little tip from your friends here at True Crime Tuesday. Investigators allege that Erica Rothenbuehler entered the lobby of a Red Roof Inn early Thursday morning and began looking under the tree. Wait, did they have real gifts under a tree at a Red Roof Inn? And you thought they'd stay there the entire time?
That was just a bad idea.
That's a horrible idea. As captured on hotel security video, Rothenbuehler then took 6 total toys, which were for kids before leaving the lobby. Oh, so they must have had presents under the tree for kids who came in. for the holiday.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh, go ahead and pick out a present from under the tree. Thanks for staying with us type deal.
Yeah.
The pilfered presents, cops say, were worth $48. So they were little cheapy toys. They were like $8 and under. Yeah. It's like there's a Cower Ranger instead of a Power Ranger, the little cheap dollar store toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. An arrest report does indicate who the items were intended for, It says it does indicate who the items were intended for, or whether they had been collected in a toy drive at the St. Petersburg Hotel. When police subsequently located Rothenbuehler, she reportedly made spontaneous statements saying that she thought the gifts were for the children in the building. Cops noted that the defendant does not have any children. And why would she be taking them? Rothenbuehler was arrested for theft. While the charges would normally be a misdemeanor, the matter was upgraded to a felony due to Rothenbuehler's prior convictions. Guess what, Jess? The supermarket you were going to go to instead of Publix is no longer safe either. She was arrested prior for stealing from a Winn-Dixie.
Wow, she's just all over the place.
Yes. And by the way, she also hit the Wawa, so no place is safe. So, yeah.
Oh, she's a busy lady.
She is. You'll find that there's no place safe in Florida, by the way, from theft. Everybody gets hit. So, Rothenbuehler is locked up in the county jail in lieu of $5,000 bond. That's right. It was only $48 worth of gifts, but it was Christmas time and you're evil. So you get $5,000 bond for this. She faces a maximum of 5 years in prison if convicted of the third-degree felony. Boy, they laid it down on her at Christmas time. They said, Miss Rothenbuehler, you are evil. You're a Grinch. You're going to jail for a long time. Okay, we're going to stay in Florida for this one, Jess, but this one's kind of a sad story. I'm going to have you reach down to the warm cockles of your heart and try to feel for this guy a little bit. Because I'm going to admit, I'm a little verklempt thinking about this guy. This Florida man allegedly stole 400 pounds of avocados to buy Christmas presents for his children.
Oh.
Have you ever wondered how much you get for 400 pounds of avocados?
I pay a lot for them, I feel like, when I go and buy them at the store.
No, see, that's retail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then he's selling them like on the black market.
Or just maybe on the roadside.
Yeah.
Right. So how much do you think you would get for 400 pounds of avocados before I launch into this?
I mean, I would say $400, right? Like at least $1 an avocado.
We'll throw that out there. Maybe you're expecting maybe $400, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. A Florida man who was arrested this week after allegedly stealing hundreds of pounds of avocados from a Miami area grove is facing jail time. Adele Perez, who's 29 years old, was arrested after deputies said they saw him leaving a fenced avocado grove with bags of avocados estimated to weigh about 400 pounds. This guy has the strength of the Hulk.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's right.
He should do some sort of weightlifting challenge.
That's right. He's like, my kids need gifts. Right? Perez allegedly told police that he was unemployed and planning to sell the stolen fruit. By the way, I didn't know avocado was a fruit. Why did I think it was a vegetable?
Right. Well, because it has a seed.
Ah, that's why.
So it's a fruit. Anything with a seed is a fruit.
Okay, thank you. Well, I did not know that. I did not know. That is wild, wacky stuff there, Jess.
Former food science teacher over here.
There you go. That is wild, wacky stuff. He was planning to sell the stolen fruit to buy Christmas presents for his two children. Now, at about 3:10 a.m. on Monday, police said they observed a male dressed in all black clothing picking avocados inside the grove. The avocado grove is fenced and has a no trespassing sign, according to police. Deputies found bags of avocados in Perez's Mercedes-Benz. Okay, I feel a little less sorry for him that he's putting the avocados in a Mercedes-Benz. And identical bags in the grove with freshly picked fruit. Police said they also found loose avocados in the vehicle's trunk. Now, the avocados have an estimated value of $800.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds about right.
According to the arrest affidavit. Perez faces charges of trespassing on an agricultural site and third-degree grand theft. But can he really get $800 for them? That's the thing. If he turns around and tries to sell them, he's probably, like you said, Jess, he's probably going to get, half the value of that. So he's probably going to get about $400 for them.
Yeah. I'd pay $1 an avocado if I saw some guy on the side of the road in a Mercedes with his trunk open.
Yeah. About $1 a piece. And at that, you're probably loading up at $1 a piece.
Yeah. I'd buy a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'd be having guacamole every night.
That's right. Probably $20 worth at least, right? At $1 a piece.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. He'd probably
avocado toast. Yeah.
Yeah. He'd probably be out of avocados in one afternoon.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner at my house. Avocados.
That's right. That's right. All right. This next couple of stories are a little bizarre. This next story has to do with a 100-mile-per-hour chase and a man charged after pursuit, which ended in a fiery Lancaster County crash. It hospitalized two. It sounds pretty tragic. But if I told you it was caused by a guy who thought he was God, that changes the scenario a little bit. Right. We go to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I think this is the first story outside of Florida we've had today.
Yes, we've been in Florida a long time.
We have been. We're going to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where a Lebanon County man faces multiple charges after a high-speed chase ended in a fiery crash in Lancaster County, hospitalizing two people. Police identified the suspect as 33-year-old Joshua Quinones of Myerstown. Now, WGAL obtained court documents detailing what led up to the pursuit and wreck. The following took place on Saturday, December 20th, this according to authorities. Now, an unknown caller calls in. I believe this is to 911, and police said a victim received a call from an unknown number and a 6-second voicemail stating, "Meet me at the bridge." The victim identified Quinones as the caller. There is a false report of a house fire at 5:22 a.m. Court documents stated that Quinones called police to report a house fire with 4 people inside. Responding crews found no fire, and the incident was deemed a false report. Suspects told 911 dispatchers that he is God at 5:51 a.m. According to court documents, Quinones called Lancaster County-wide communications and said he was God and that an unidentified victim was his queen. Now it's getting good. Right. Police said he stated that he needed to speak with the victim before hanging up. Court records also indicated that Quinones previously pleaded guilty in 2021 to witness intimidation involving the victim and defiant trespass. There was a robbery at Turkey Hill in Pennsylvania at 6:35 a.m. Police said Quinones robbed the Turkey Hill on North Oak Street in Warwick Township after attempting to buy a nicotine vape using playing cards. That's right. He went up to the Turkey Hill and said, "I'd like a nicotine vape. Here, I'll pay you in these playing cards." He's not all there, kids. After being refused, police said he threatened 2 employees by gesturing with his hands like guns. Pew, 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 pew. I'm going to get you. Pew, pew. Right?
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun morning so far, doesn't it? One employee gave him the vape and just said, "Here, just take it." And he fled in a silver Ford Focus, according to officials. So far, a pretty fun story, isn't it? Police said Quinones robbed the sheets at this point on Lillet's Pike. This kid is busy. In Manheim Township after handing the clerk a note with his name and demanding money. That's right. He put his name on a piece of paper and then demanded money.
Oh.
Court documents stated the clerk gave Quinones $451 before he fled again in the Ford Focus. Shortly after the Sheets robbery, police said an officer located Quinones' vehicle near the intersection of Millport Road and Route 501 in Warwick Township. The officer activated his emergency lights and sirens, but Quinones fled, according to the officials. The officer was then ordered to terminate the pursuit by his supervisor. Police said that Quinones called Lancaster County-wide communications to report he was being pursued. That's right. He got on the phone to police and said, "Hey, you're chasing me." That allowed dispatchers to, I know, isn't he fun? That allowed dispatchers to track his location at that point. An officer later positioned a patrol vehicle with on the double yellow line in an attempt to stop Quinones, according to officials. Police said Quinones accelerated toward the cruiser and swerved away just before impact. The officer said he feared Quinones was going to crash into him and braced for impact, according to the documents. That had to be scary for that cop, I'll tell you that much. Now, Pennsylvania State Police were called around 7 a.m. to assist as the pursuit continued along Route 322 at high speeds. Speeds reached over 100 miles per hour, investigators said. Quinones, while speeding from police, ran a red light and crashed into a green Ford F-150 at the intersection of Wood Corner Road and Route 322. The impact caused both vehicles to instantly ignite and burst into flames, said police. And yes, there's a video of this, believe it or not. Now, there were life-threatening injuries in this. There was a brain bleed, burns, and broken bones, according to doctors. The Ford F-150 was occupied by a husband and wife. The husband suffered life-threatening injuries, including a brain bleed, multiple broken bones, and burns to his body. The wife was also hospitalized with multiple broken bones, according to police. An arrest warrant was issued, and Quinones is charged with the following: 3 counts of aggravated assault, assault of a law enforcement officer, stalking, false alarm to an agency of public safety, 2 counts of robbery, 2 counts of theft by unlawful taking, 2 counts of terroristic threats, 6 counts of recklessly endangering another person, 2 counts of aggravated assault by vehicle, 2 counts of fleeing or attempting to elude an officer, reckless driving, failure to stop at a red signal, and driving at a safe speed. That's a busy morning, Jess.
Yes, he's in a little bit of trouble.
Just a little bit of trouble. And if that doesn't entertain you, I don't know what will. I can't help you in this episode. I just can't.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I guess this guy don't want none unless it's got buns, hun. This guy was caught on camera, Jess, in a San Jose bakery, destroying equipment.
Oh. That's not very nice of him.
No. It was all caught on camera. Peter's Bakery. I guess Peter owns it, right? Posted the video on social media asking for the public's help in identifying the man who wreaked havoc before the holidays. Peter's Bakery in San Jose posted surveillance video showing the man going into the business and destroying some of their equipment. That same man then tackles a customer to the ground who was recording him at the time. Ooh, it's a little violent. The bakery says the suspect entered trying to sell cleaning wipes and then asked for his contact information. That's when they say the man started yelling at their staff and then threw some of their equipment on the floor. The bakery said he did about $2,000 in damage, but didn't stop there. As he exits, the footage shows a customer following him out, recording him on her phone. The man turns back and tackles her to the ground, smashing her phone on the sidewalk. Police said it happened on December 17th, and the customer needed medical attention. The attacker is still out there. Peter's Bakery just posted the video on social media asking for the public's help identifying the man. The video has prompted reaction online and among neighboring businesses. Tim, not me, but a guy named Tim works at Sushi Town, just a couple doors down. The bakery believes the man in the video is homeless. Businesses told NBC Bay Area there are often several unhoused individuals in the area. Tim went on to say, I have a homeless woman sitting in front of my door all the time, and I try to call the police all the time, but nobody takes care of this. Back in May, surveillance video outside of Peter's Bakery captured a man striking a 15-year-old boy in a random attack. Police said the man was unhoused. Meantime, businesses have also faced break-ins in the last few years. The owner of Eastside Barbershop says he's been broken into 3 times. but add security cameras have helped. Last year, the city announced they were giving security cameras to businesses in Alum Rock. Still, business owners want to see more patrols in the area. More police enforcement, more people to care about the local environment, Tim went on to say. Not this Tim, the other Tim. Councilman Peter Ortiz told NBC Bay Area that he's pushing for additional officers to patrol East San Jose, and he's working with the police department and the DA's office to tell a forum on public safety concerns in East San Jose. So there you go. So that's that story.
Yeah, sounds like they have a real homeless problem there.
That it does. All right, we're headed back to Florida for this one, Jess. This is no way to break up a child's party. I'll just tell you that.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be good. A woman dunked a 6-year-old in a hotel pool amid a fight.
What? Well, that's terrible.
I know. It's.
How'd you do that?
I mean, if you're ever going to get involved and break up a fight, you don't ever want to take a kid and try and bob for apples. You know what I mean? It's a horrible way of trying to win the bobbing for apples
I'm
competition.
fighting with you. I'm going to go over here and dunk a kid under the water.
Or, you know what?
Take that.
Put them up, but first I'm going to dunk your kid. I mean, that's not, you don't ever turn heel on the bit.
Oh, yeah. And if you're doing that to make someone mad, dunk their kid because you're fighting with them. Ooh, watch out for the mama bear.
Oh, right. A Southwest Florida woman is sitting in the Osceola County Jail with no bond. It'll also get you no bond if you dunk their kid. Yeah. After deputies said she dunked another woman's child in a hotel pool. Tiffany Griffith, known as the most evil woman in Fort Myers, was taken into custody on Friday and charged with aggravated child abuse. Deputies said the incident happened at the Gaylord Palms Resort and Convention Center's pool. They said Griffith intervened in a fight involving her son and a 6-year-old. They said she dunked the 6-year-old under the water after the fight.
Whoa.
So I'm getting the idea, before we even go any further, her son was getting his ass kicked. Right?
Yeah.
And then she took the 6-year-old and went, boom, under the water and probably held him there for a little bit to settle him down.
That's bad.
Yeah. The initial incident report didn't go into detail about the fight or the dunking. It wasn't immediately clear if Griffith held the child under the water or if any other adult intervened. WFTV, I'm telling you, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And seriously, though, like a 6-year-old, they're so little still.
Yeah.
That's so young.
Right. You'd have been better off just slapping the kid a couple of times and walking away. Right.
I mean, even if they're like getting after your kid and 2 little 6-year-olds are fighting, I can't imagine ever doing anything violent to like such a little person. You could just scold them and move on.
Well, see, I can see some parents getting out of control because you're seeing your kid being beat, right? So you lose it and you want to do something to that kid because they're harming your child. I can see losing your temper.
I guess I would just be giving them a Karen tongue lashing.
Again, you're a kind soul. There's some people out there that would absolutely lose it, right? But dunking a kid to the point where you're going to kill this kid is a little much.
That's wild.
Right.
And again, 6 is so, and they're little.
Right. They're little.
Little.
I can see taking the kid over my knee and spanking them. But I mean, but again, and there are people out there that are going to be reviled by that. You don't put your hands
I can't imagine any of it. I would just be like, that's naughty. Get out of here.
Right.
I'm going to go tell your mom.
Well, where are this kid's parents? Right.
There had to have been some alcohol involved.
I'm thinking with the kids.
Yeah. No. Well, maybe. I mean, it is Florida.
It is Florida. Everybody was probably drinking, Long Island iced teas or something, or spiked Kool-Aid. Who knows? Gaylord management declined to comment when a crew stopped by to inquire about the arrest on Saturday afternoon. I don't know, like maybe there was a little spiked Kool-Aid going around at the 6-year-old party. You never know. Little punch with cake. Punch with cake.
Kind of punch, Tim.
Well, Both, Jess, both punch with cake.
The spiked kind and the kind that leaves you bloody.
That's right. That's right. If you think that's ridiculous, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
You ever been behind on your fines with a municipality, like a parking ticket?
In college, yeah.
Yeah, in college,
I
right?
had all kinds of parking tickets back in Ames back in the day.
Right. And same here in Winona, right? Again, I've told the story before on the show about going to jail for the weekend on an alternate side parking ticket and being put in maximum security.
Oh, that'll teach you.
Oh, gee, you're telling me. I barely survived the weekend in maximum security.
That is so scary.
In Winona County Jail. Yeah. I was put in there with murderers, rapists, and a guy who burned up his girlfriend.
That is not okay, Tim.
And cocaine dealers. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you're in there for a parking ticket?
Alternate side parking. Because they had run out of room in minimum over the weekend. It was a heavily trafficked weekend where they were running stings and picking up people. And I was leaving from my weekend job at the radio station at KWNO, and they were just randomly picking people or pulling people over. I was crossing the bridge to go over to Fountain City, go across the bridge to my apartment to Wisconsin, but they pulled me over and they said, "Oh, we're just checking people at random, just making sure they're not drinking tonight." I said, "Nope, just coming from work." I said, "Okay, well, if you don't mind, we're just going to run your license, blah, 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 blah." They're like, "Mr. Dennis, I'm going to need you to step out of the car." I'm like, "Why?" And then like, "Because you have a warrant out for your arrest." I'm like, "I have a warrant?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Oh my God.
And it was, at the time, it was for an alternate side parking ticket. And I said, "Well, can I take care of it right here?" And I went to pull my wallet out and he said, "Take your hand off your pocket right now."
Oh, Tim.
Yeah, and I didn't know. I mean, I'm in my 20s at the time, right? I had no idea. So I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, he said, "Don't offer to pay me anything that can be constituted as a bribe." And he said, "I need to take you downtown." And he said, I go, "What's going to happen to my car?" He goes, "We'll tow it. We'll tow it to a yard." And he goes, "I need to take you into custody." I'm like, "Take me into custody over an alternate side parking ticket?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You've never done this before, huh, son?" I said, "Nope." He goes, "Well, welcome to the system." And I was like,
"You're never going to do it again."
Yeah, it was embarrassing. I mean, but yeah, and everything, and there's more to the story, but yeah, I had to make up, I've told it before here on the show, but I had to make up a bunch of quick lies in front of a bunch of felons in order to not get in.
So you could fit in.
Well, so they wouldn't take advantage of me in the shower. That was
I would not. Did they make you shower? I would just be dirty that whole weekend.
I took a shower when everybody went to work. Is what I did. They didn't make me work. I mean, because generally most everybody has to go to work, especially on Saturday, but because I got picked up on a Friday night. But yeah, but I had one guy who was eyeing me up on that Saturday morning when we went out for breakfast, because there's a little picnic table. I got my own little whatever it is, 6x8 cell or whatever it is, 8x8, whatever it is. Yeah, and then I came out for breakfast, and there's one guy looking me up and down like I was the new neighborhood girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of fun. But
looking back, it was quite the adventure.
Oh, yeah, I look back at it now and I can laugh. But yeah, I wasn't laughing when it was happening.
Oh, gosh, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Anyways, so parking fines. I'm getting back to the subject of parking fines. There's one woman in Florida who's not laughing. She owes $100,000 for parking in her driveway. And she recently tried to appeal to the Florida Supreme Court. They rejected her appeal, and it could cost her her home.
What?
Yeah. This
is sad.
This story is amazing, Jess. We go to Lantana, Florida, where Lantana homeowners' fight against staggering code enforcement penalties ended this week when the Florida Supreme Court declined to hear her case. Since 2021, Sandy Martinez owes nearly $165,000 in fines, More than $100,000 of it is for parking cars on her own driveway, where 2 tires occasionally rest on the lawn. Oh, we froze there for a second. Let's see here. 151.59. Okay. So 2 of those tires occasionally just rest on the lawn. That's what the fine.
You can get a ticket for that in your own driveway?
If it's a homeowners association, yes.
Wow.
Martinez is a single mother of 3, and she told CBS 12 News that the fines are ridiculous and have left her unable to sell her home. The city charged her $250 per day for almost a year for the parking issue, plus tens of thousands more for a storm-damaged fence and cracks in her driveway. She was represented by the Institute for Justice, which argued the penalties violate Florida's excessive fines clause. 6-figure fines for parking on your own property are shocking, said IJ senior attorney Ari Bargill. The court's refusal to hear Sandy's case is a disservice to all Floridians. Despite Florida's homestead protection shielding despite Florida's homestead protection shielding her from foreclosure, Martinez says the fines have stripped away her home equity. Cities shouldn't be allowed to wreck lives over trivial violations, she said. I don't know what to say. She could potentially.
But wouldn't she have just made sure she wasn't on the grass? I mean, I would get like a couple of those tickets, and then I would be like, okay, I need to be very careful not to let my tires be on the grass. Like,
yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, she shouldn't have those fines. That's really sad.
Right.
Because that is crazy excessive, but...
Incredibly excessive. Yeah.
Is there no way to avoid your tires being on the grass? I'd have to see the way.
Maybe they've got multiple cars and they need to park in the driveway. Yeah. Maybe there's there's not a lot of garage. There aren't... When you see the houses in Florida, there's no such thing. There's carports, which are like little... roofs, but there's no such thing really as garages in a lot of houses. You don't really have a lot of garages. You have the carport, which is the roof over the driveway, but there's not. Garages are a luxury. They're not really real things in a lot of homes in Florida. So, all right, it's time now for Not Safe for Work, and with this, well, you need to get the kids out of the room, because we're going to talk about some naughty stuff on Santa's list, not nice stuff. And with that as well, you need to get the boss out of the room, because you don't want him to find out that you like these kind of stories either. You don't want to affect your job security. So we're going to do this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jess, I'm going to ask you this. It's kind of a personal question. Anybody on the trip kind of maybe blow up one of the toilets in any of the establishments that you went to?
Funny you should ask. Because yes, on the first night there was a clogged toilet, but I will not mention any names. And no, it was not me.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's a little embarrassing, right? Blow up a toilet, and you're like, oh, geez.
It was bad. Yeah. They felt really bad about themselves. And everyone was like, don't use so much toilet paper. And they were like, I didn't even use toilet paper yet. They're like, do a courtesy flush. And they're like, I did.
Right.
How big is your poop?
Right. And you're like, geez, what did you eat? Right. Well, sometimes when you say blowing up the toilet, literally it's blowing up the toilet.
No.
Right? We go to Central Florida, where a man is suing Outback Steakhouse because he says the toilet shattered beneath him when he went to use it.
Oh, no. Can you imagine?
Actually, I can. Now, this incident occurred on March 26th of 2025, according to the lawsuit. We go to Ocala, Florida. An Ocala man is suing Outback Steakhouse after a trip to a restaurant's bathroom took an unfortunate turn, according to court documents. The lawsuit says the man, identified as Michael Green, visited one of the chain's restaurants along Southwest College Road in Ocala back on March 26th. At the time, Green went to use the restroom, but while he was seated on the toilet in the handicap stall, first of all, I would question if he was truly handicapped while he was sitting there. I know a lot of people who aren't. The toilet suddenly shattered and collapsed beneath him. As a result, the lawsuit argues Green suffered severe bodily injury. I'll let you think about where exactly he was injured. And if that wasn't just God calling down his vengeance for Michael Green using the wrong stall. Now, Green is accusing the restaurant of negligence and failing to maintain the toilet properly. The lawsuit seeks over $50,000 in damages. The man wants $50,000 for the toilet breaking. The full lawsuit is actually attached to this story. I don't know that you need to see the full lawsuit, but $50,000, Jess, for a toilet breaking underneath them.
I mean, what did he hurt? Is it irreparable?
I'm thinking it was the boys and the buttocks area.
Yeah.
That's what's so expensive.
His little bits.
Yep, his twig and berries got the brunt of the damage.
I mean, I can't imagine sitting on a toilet and just having it fall apart beneath me. I would feel. Do I need to go on a diet?
Right? I mean, at that point, there's a little bit of shame there, and you're very wet.
Is it me?
Right. I got to think you're a little wet, you're a little shamed, and you're probably not going back out to finish the meal, right?
No, I'm just going to quietly leave. I'm not even going to tell anyone that it happened.
Let alone file a lawsuit.
Actually, that's not true. I would probably videotape it and put it on social media. It's like, you guys, I just busted the toilet.
Evidently, the full pound steak is a full pound steak here at Outback. Right? I mean,
I should have not had the blooming onion. It's all my fault.
Right. Oh, those will tear you up. Yeah. Evidently, poor Michael was torn up. Well, the lewd, nude, and crude continues in Florida over Christmas. Evidently, some people can't keep their clothes on at Christmas time. I don't know what it is.
Not even their ugly sweater?
No, they took the ugly sweater off too.
Huh?
Especially this guy right here. In fact, he had to do the mugshot nude. Look at that.
Oh, he is. Look at that. It zoomed in on the other thing.
Oh, did it?
He doesn't have. Yeah, he doesn't have a top on.
Look at that. Yeah. Can you imagine that? The cops go, "You want to do your mugshot now?" They're like, "Sure. Can I have a shirt?" No. You came in. You take the shot the way you came in.
You came in your birthday suit. You take your mugshot in your birthday suit.
That's right. Here's the headline. Naked burglar broke into a $12 million and $37 million Golden Beach home on Christmas and then drank inside. So he had a little libation while he was robbing both mansions. Why not? Police say they caught a nude burglar hiding in the garage of a $12 million Golden Beach home on Christmas night. And they say it came after he broke into an even more expensive home nearby and left his clothes behind. So, you're frolicking about in a $37 million mansion and all of a sudden off come the clothes. Oh, yeah.
I love it here. I must be naked.
That's right. It's mine now because I got nude in it. What?
Sat on the couch with no pants on. It's mine.
That's right. I smeared my butt on it. I own it now. Vladimir Demidovich, all of 26 years old, of Hallandale Beach, now faces 2 felony charges. According to the Golden Beach Police Department, both burglaries happened in the 100 block of Ocean Boulevard. You know you're in an exclusive area when you live on the 100 block of the boulevard.
Yeah.
Right? There's not too many other houses there. And about 600 feet from the police station. So they weren't too far away from the police station. So when the burglar alarm goes off and you're 600 feet away from the police station, from the cop
right
shop,
there,
and they can walk over and bust you.
Busting your naked ass.
That's right. You are in an exclusive neighborhood, my friend. Police said when they found Demidovich in his birthday suit inside of the first home just before 9:45 p.m. He told them his clothes were in a nearby home.
Oh.
He's just over in next home. Yeah. A GBPD report states that when officers went into that home, which, according to Miami-Dade property records, has a market value of more than $37 million, they found the house disturbed and drinks consumed and clothing on the second floor. Cops determined that Demidovich consumed beverages inside both houses and demonstrated intent to commit theft and arrested him on 2 burglary charges, according to the report. Again, I will stress, the man's naked. What was he going to steal and where was he going to put it?
His prison pocket, Tim.
That's right. What did he get, Jess? Candlesticks. That's all he could get. Or candlestick holders. What else is he going to steal? Court records show that Demidovich was out on felony bond at the time of his arrest, stemming from a pending criminal mischief case out of Sunny Isle Beach from June 5th. In that case, police said he entered the Ocean Reserve condominium at 19300 Collins Avenue and claimed he was looking for his girlfriend and had been involved in a car crash. Police said an unruly Demidovich pushed over a large mirror in the lobby and broke it, leading to his arrest on the felony charge. This guy is disturbed. As of Friday afternoon, Demidovich has been held in the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center. It's a very famous center for holding lots of weird people. So he's getting his just desserts over Christmas. All right. And finally, our final story today. Where do all these naughty people go during Christmas, Jess? That's the question we have here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is why it's not safe for work. Well, the headline is, Santa will spank you now. St. Nick turns up the heat at NYC's wild sold-out Christmas cabaret. Is it a hot hit or a freaky flop?
Oh, gosh. Oh, Kinky Santa.
Kinky Santa. 'Twas the night, a Tuesday night before Christmas, and high atop the glittering shops at Columbus Circle, a ripped, shirtless Santa straddles a middle-aged woman, grinding a thumping beat as a half-horrified, half-thrilled crowd of onlookers erupts in screams, whistles, and laughter.
There's nothing sexy about what's happening right there.
No. Sequence flash, cocktail spill, and phones whip out to capture the moment as the object of this not so, and then it cut off because it wants me to log in. Not so, hold on, let me get back to the story here. I don't like that it wants me to log in. Here we go. The not so old, there we go. The object of this not so old St. Nick's momentarily affections shrieks and flails in mock protest, ultimately finding herself powerless. Santa, joined by a bevy of cackling drag queens and dancers, shaking feathered skirts, flexes his pecs and winks at his audience. The room pulses with sexy, happy energy, it says here. The weather outside may be frightful, but the atmosphere at Santa's Secret, which is one of NYC's hottest holiday shows, is steamier than the tropics in August, and many fans, it's utterly delightful. Despite the howling December winds practically begging New Yorkers to stay home and cuddle, the night's show was sold out, said organizers. Now in its 5th year, the ringmaster of this carnival of festive oddities is opera singer Shakita, real name Gary Hall, who wrote, directs, and stars. A Swarovski, dripping drag diva who plays the Ice Queen, Santa's disgruntled first wife, freshly freed and ready to spill decades worth of tea. Oh, good. I like the fact that Santa's first wife wants to spill the tea. The world wasn't ready for a black drag queen, Mrs. Claus, Shakita declares loudly before announcing her mission: vengeance, justice, and satisfying her urges, it says here. They annulled our marriage and locked me away for thousands of years, but tonight I broke free And I'm getting horny, baby, it says here.
Whoa. Oh, that does not sound like a Christmas show when you say I'm getting horny in it.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. Leaving nothing to chance, the Ice Queen proceeds to... I won't read that part. But she simulates something with a microphone. Announces that all sluts are now allowed in the North Pole and impressively flirts with everyone in the vicinity. By the way, guests pay up to $75 and up for an audience with Shakita and a crew. First wandering upon arrival through 8 immersive installations complete with naughty gingerbread ladies, rugged lumberjacks, and twinkling snow globes before landing inside Santa's secret showroom. By the way, I'll show you a picture of Santa on stage. Here's Santa, by the way, if you need to.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's not like the Saint Nick I'm used to.
No, that's Saint Nicholas, Saint Dick out. yeah. But
Saint Nick has washboard abs.
He does, doesn't he? I mean, there's no bowl full of jelly there at all.
No, he's not eating all those Christmas cookies.
No, I don't think he's touched a cookie in years. At least according to that. But there's a barely dressed lumberjack, the Black Swan, the real Barbie, the Nutcracker, and the now more devilish Christmas Angel, and the Gingerbread Lady. They're all familiar faces, just turned way up and decidedly more R-rated than you may remember them there at that particular gathering.
It's a new kind of Christmas pageant.
It's a new Christmas pageant. That's right, Jess. We'll skip ahead a little bit here in the story and let you know that Santa's Secret runs through New Year's Eve. It has 2 shows nightly at 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. if you're in New York. And tickets are $75 for general seating.
Wow.
Yeah. With
pricey.
Yeah, $110 for VIP if you've got reserved seats. And that puts guests closer to the stage and well within performers' naughty little orbit, if that's the way you decide to go. Yeah. And with that, we're going to need a palate cleanser. And we have 2 of them today.
Oh, good.
One of them is going to be a double entendre, of course, because you've got to de-escalate from that last story. So the first one, Jess, is that something is not on our oak tree or someone's oak tree. There's a sinkhole in your road. Well, how Zurich's beaver hotline is reassuring residents. That's right. We're going to Switzerland, where Switzerland has a beaver problem.
Oh.
Yeah. A woman tells the beaver hotline, "I hate beavers." 40 years ago, she planted an oak tree in a small town in southern Zurich, and now at the frontier of a beaver expansion, it has just been felled, gnawed by the large semi-aquatic rodents as they enter the seasonal home improvement mode. How could you hate beavers?
They're so cute.
They are. The caller is one of 10 new people getting in touch each week at this time of year. Beavers, nature's great engineers, can unleash mayhem during winter as they renovate their lodges and build up their dams. For people, this can mean flooding, sinkholes appearing in roads, and trees being felled. A single incident can clock up 70,000 Swiss francs or 65,000 pounds in damages. That's a lot of money. To cope, the beaver-rich canton of Zurich came up with this hotline, the local Beaver Advisory Center. That sounds like a heck of an idea, the Beaver Advisory Center. It's staffed by ecologists who give advice, assess damages, and evaluate potential compensation. That's right, you can be compensated if you've been damaged by a beaver. The oak tree bereft woman, by the way, is advised to wrap wire around the base of other trees to stop the rodents from chewing. Part of the job is calming down people who are furious at their beaver neighbors. Some farmers are so angry that you can hardly understand them, but they calm down when you go and see them. There's a first responder, by the way. There are beaver first responders.
A beaver patrol, responders.
That's right, beaver patrol. Her name is Caroline Nienhuis. She's a biologist from Fornet, who's the consultancy that runs the hotline. By the way, Switzerland is experiencing a beaver boom. I didn't know if you knew that or not. It says so right here. When top predators first recolonize a former habitat, such as when wolves, bears, and eagles return to areas across Europe, the immediate reaction is often of awe. As animals spread, however, it can lead to conflict, and population growth is usually slow when you first introduce a new species, and it moves exponentially. In 2008, there were 6,500. Numbers have likely increased, and they've gotten bigger and bigger as the beavers have spread. See what I did there? As the beavers have spread, they've gotten exponentially bigger.
Oh.
Right. So now they've got a beaver issue in Switzerland. So there you go. But I just figured I'd let you know that there's now a hotline in Switzerland where you can talk about your beaver.
Oh, what's the number, Tim? I must call.
Oh, you wanted the number for the beaver hotline. Let me see. Is there a number here? Did they leave a number? Leave a number, take a number.
I'll have to Google it.
Yeah, I think you'll have to Google it, Jess. I don't have the direct number here. I don't think they left the number because too many people would call it. I just think people would get enamored with calling about their beaver. So people would say,
I mean, they'd probably get a lot of crank calls. That's for sure.
Yeah, you'd hear, Yader, hey, thank you for calling this beaver hotline. How may I help you? And someone would say, I got a leaky beaver and I need help plugging it. Oh, that's not funny. Yeah, you know.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it'd be horrible. All right, and our serious palate cleanser. That was kind of our funny one. Kind of, just a little chuckle. Christmas chuckle.
Yeah. The beavers are funny.
They really are. All right, our serious one. A serious Christmas miracle here.
No.
Yeah.
I love a Christmas miracle.
There you go. This one's for all you cat lovers out there who say that I don't like cats. Here we go. A cat that's been missing for 5 years turns up in a Christmas miracle. After countless searches and a house move, Bindy's owner had given up hope. But it turns out we have a little Christmas miracle on our hands. A cat that went missing 5 years ago has been reunited with her family in what has been described as a Christmas miracle. Bindy, a black cat, vanished into thin air from her home in Haddenham, Cambridgeshire in August of 2020, but was found last week just in time for Christmas. Her owner, 29-year-old software project manager Jilly Fretwell, said Bindy often went out for a couple of hours and then came straight back. So it was really odd for her to be missing for more than a day. She posted appeals on social media and searched the local walking routes for months. We really were left in the dark, she said. By 2021, Fretwell, who has since moved house, had given up hope. But she received an unexpected phone call from a vet on December 18th saying Bindy had been handed in. Despite a few minor scratches, the cat, now 10 years old, was in great shape and instantly recognized her family. We were just in complete disbelief, Fretwell said. It wasn't really until we saw her that we believed it was her. We're just so glad we had her microchipped and that she was alive and well. I've never heard of anyone's cat going missing for so long and actually turning up absolutely fine. Fretwell said the reunion felt like a Christmas miracle. She told the BBC we picked her up from the vets, and it's like she recognized us. She was instantly on our lap, giving us snuggles, and it was the best feeling. She had a couple of little scratches on her that the vet wanted to see to, but other than that, she looks great. There's no clues as to where Bindy had been for 5 years, but Fretwell believes she may have been cared for by someone locally. Oh, but see, that's a little sad too, because someone might have had her for 5 years and got attached to her.
Yeah, and fell in love with her. That's sad.
Yeah. She is the most cuddly, affectionate cat I've ever met, Fretwell said. She puts her paws on either of your shoulders to give you a real cuddle. I think she's been looked after by someone. She looks in great shape. She's potentially been inside, but I have no idea. And here is a picture of Jilly and Bindy having been reunited.
Aww. That's so sweet that she recognized her owner after all those years.
Yeah, after 5 years of being out there. Well, I hope that the people who looked after Bindy have found something to kind of fill their hearts. I'm sure that they miss Bendy as well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a bit of I'm sure a mixed bag there.
It's a happy, sad story, Tim.
Yeah, that's true. But an interesting palate cleanser for today, nonetheless. So
yeah, very sweet. Christmas miracle.
Christmas miracle, that's for sure. So what's going on in your world, Jess?
Oh, not a whole lot, but we do have an event coming up in January at the Palmer House, and I think there might be maybe one room left. So, if you want it, you got to grab it.
That's true. It's going quick, and it's you know what? Next one who speaks up and grabs it gets it. So, we'll have a link in the description of this program to get that ticket, get the remaining tickets for the event. Get the ticket, get the room. It's going quick. It's going to go quick.
Yeah. And use the discount code FRIENDS20 to get $20 off your ticket. So you get discount. That's
right. So hurry up and get that room quickly. Going to be a good event up there at the Palmer.
Should be fun.
Always is. Always is. Love those events up there that you throw up there, Jess. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right. So click on that link that's in the description of the show. Get that ticket. Start the new year right, by gosh. What a wonderful way to start that new year. All right, tomorrow on the big show, supernatural news. And I tell you what, we're going to throw a little change up in the deal for supernatural news tomorrow. How do I know
Sounds mysterious.
I know. How do I know this, Jess? Just so happens we're recording out of order this week. That's how I know this. But I have a little surprise for you guys for tomorrow. My co-hosts for tomorrow. That's all I'll say.
Oh, two co-hosts for the price of one.
That's right. And that's all I'll say.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. And a return of an old friend.
Ooh, reunited with an old friend.
That's right. So we'll leave you with that. And keep in mind, it's anniversary week.
Happy anniversary.
And happy anniversary to you. 20 years coming up on the 1st. Speaking of old friends, I'll give you this clue as well for Thursday. We will begin the year as we started the show. We'll celebrate as we started.
That's a mysterious clue.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of a mysterious clue, but that's
it's a riddle.
We'll start 20 as we started 1. So there you go. But looking forward to a great year. We got, but keep in mind here, and I believe I mentioned this on tomorrow's show as well, that, and I got a couple things I want to say here, and then we'll get out of here. There's going to be a lot of, I think, a lot of intense, because it is year 20. I think a lot of people are going to want to reach far back. I'll tell you, we'll keep 1.5 feet firmly in the future. I'll put it that way, and moving ahead because there's so much ground to cover. And I'll tell you guys this: I love this crew that I have right now. This crew is the heart and soul of Darkness Radio right now. Jess, Mally, and Travis, and Beer City Bruiser. When things were at their darkest with this show, these were the folks that really provided the light that got this show moving forward. And really, this is what this anniversary is all about.
I love that.
So this is what this year is all about. And this is what this celebration is all about. So we're going to kind of keep things focused where they need to be, right? So there may be a time during this 20th anniversary, maybe we look back a little bit, but we'll look back selectively during the year. But for now, we'll celebrate appropriately. I'll put it that way. We'll celebrate appropriately.
I'm so excited.
So, Thursday, we'll start the 20th years. We started the first. And that is that's how we'll wrap up anniversary week. So, but tomorrow, Supernatural News and Parashare with my co-hosts. Check it out. I want to thank Katrina Weidman and the cast of Voices from the Grave. By the way, check that out on YouTube. A great show. Combines true crime and paranormal. Again, the original mission of this show, True Crime Tuesday. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. There's a link for that as well in the description of this program. For Jessica Freeberg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much, folks, for continuing to watch and listen to this particular podcast. Again, if you enjoy what you're listening to, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a relative, and be sure to like and subscribe to the video, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast, and be sure to tell someone, and be sure to review and give it a 5-star review. We'll see you tomorrow for Supernatural News and Parashare. And thank you very much for listening to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday.